Good afternoon. You're watching Business Day and I'm Nisha Podar. And let's go straight to the markets then. It was a good start for August in the markets today with Nifty rising today, as you can see on your screens. It was almost flat to about 0.2% up in the trading day. 5,240 is the kind of levels at which Nifty had shut shop for the day, and the Sensex had shut shop at 17,257. We have with us Megha Chadha to take us through all the details of the market action today. Megha.
Well, it was a day of consolidation for the Indian markets. In fact, extremely tepid through the day. We had the Sensex trading in a range of just about 100 odd points, and extremely narrow as far as the Nifty is also concerned, because we had that one closing just a shade below that 5250 mark. Most of the action, in fact, for the day lay in the sectoral indices, because here we had the healthcare pack, which added on gains of very smart moves there, as did the capital goods index. On the losing side, it was the metals and the IT pack actually, where we saw a fair bit of pressure creeping in. Not just that, the broader markets, that's the mid caps and the small caps actually, those were also looking extremely perky in trade, because we had both these indices close ending the day with gains of close to 1%. For the Nifty then, some of the big movers, JP Associates reacting very well to its numbers, as did a Cipla, where we had the counter gaining close to 5%. On the losing side though, we had a Coal India that tumbled, as did a Sesa Goa. Not just that, some of the counters which hit fresh all-time highs, we had an Ambuja Cement as well as Cipla that deserve a mention. And amongst the power NBFC, we saw a fair bit of traction coming in there, because we had an REC as well as a PFC adding on some very smart moves. In the mid-cap space then, a BASF that deserves a mention, that small cap counter there gained close to 12% as did an Elantas Beck. That of course is the delisting candidate as well. On the losing side, a Deccan Chronicle deserves a mention, because that one lost close to 10% after possible reports emerged that they just may be a forging case file against the company. And not just that, a PVR as well, that of course reacted to its numbers, as also the news that we have LCap Eco that's going to be investing close to 58 crores in the company.
All right, thanks Megha for all the update on the markets, but let's get you an expert take on the markets as well. How are they reading the markets? What are they really trading on and betting on? So let's get you some of those voices.
Look at infrastructure companies that look stressed. You look at them on a per asset basis to find out what is further erosion in enterprise value potentially from assets not becoming productive in the next 12-18 months.
Since Cipla doesn't have the more exciting one-offs which Dr. Reddy's or Ranbaxy might have in the overseas markets, because its business model is fundamentally different, considering that Cipla is more of a 12 to 15% compounded story, which means that the market may not be too excited to give it a multiple of more than 22 or 23 times, which means a 10% or more of a re-rating from here. But that's significant even from these levels.
It's first day of the month, and let's take you through the auto sales numbers. Then the Manesar mess has taken a big dent on Maruti's July sales. Compared to June, sales have fallen by as much as 15%. But other automakers like Tata Motors and M&M have done better, riding on rising demand for diesel cars. Yatin Mota is here to take us through all those numbers. Yatin.
Well, as you rightly mentioned, the Manesar problem has been the biggest issue for Maruti, and that has been clearly showing up in the monthly sales of July. We have the total sales for Maruti, which came little over 82,000 units. That was a growth of about 9% on year-on-year basis. But if you compare it on a month-on-month basis, that was a degrowth of nearly 20% on a month-on-month basis. So clearly, the Manesar issue has been a problem. Nearly 5,000, 6,000 lower than what market had estimated. But the key point here is the petrol car sales for Maruti Suzuki have been deteriorating. In fact, if you talk about the small cars, which consist of A-Star, Alto, as well as Maruti 800, that segment has declined in terms of volumes. But we have on the other hand models like Swift as well as Desire. They are doing really well. So their sales increased by nearly 73% on year-on-year basis, largely to do with the fact that the demand for diesel cars have been increasing, and that also had some bit of impact on Mahindra as well as Tata Motors performance. We had the Mahindra & Mahindra sales which beat the street estimates by a large margin in terms of automotive sales. Mahindra & Mahindra automotive sales came in at little over 47,000 units, better than the market estimates, largely driven by the new models and new variants, the refreshed version of Xylo. We also have the XUV 500, which has been really doing well for Mahindra & Mahindra. But on the other hand, the Mahindra & Mahindra tractor sales really disappointed the market. We know that the monsoon has been really weak and that is why there is some bit of bearing on the Mahindra & Mahindra tractor volumes, which came in little over 16,500 units versus the market estimate of over 18,500 units. On the other hand, Tata Motors also continues to do well. We have the Tata Motors total July sales came in at close to 74,159 units. That was a jump of about 15% on a year-on-year basis, again beating the street estimates. But JLR is one important factor we need to watch out for, which will come on the 15th of every month. So Tata Motors, does not disappoint on the domestic front with strong growth seen, especially in the diesel passenger car vehicle segment. As far as the two-wheeler, volume growth is concerned, the numbers are not yet out, but analysts are anticipating a 5% drop on a month-on-month basis when it comes to the volume growth. Clearly, the domestic market has been slowing in terms of demand for motorbike, especially the new launches as well as the expensive motorbikes. Also, you have the rural demand which has been impacted because of weak monsoon. So it will be interesting to see how two-wheeler volumes pan out. Analysts are anticipating a plunge. However, most of the players like Hero Honda can surprise.
Right, Yatin. Thanks for all those details. And obviously, the Manesar standoff is taking a toll on the sales of Maruti Suzuki. Meanwhile, the Haryana government appointed Special Prosecutor KTS Tulsi, who says investigation in the case is likely to get delayed significantly. In fact, he estimates it could take up to a year for the guilty to be booked. That could potentially be a huge setback for Maruti, as the management had earlier indicated that it would not resume production till the inquiry ends. Let's hear out KTS Tulsi in an exclusive chat with ET Now's Sumit Chaturvedi.
I'm requesting the police to expedite the investigation as far as possible, and I'm requesting them to complete investigation preferably before the stipulated days limit of 90 days. There are certain persons who are absconding, and that is delaying the process of completion of investigation.
Moving to the telecom sector then, in a move that will pave the way for dissolution of the joint venture between Unitech and Telenor, Uninor has moved forward to liquidate all its assets in India. Devdatta Das now joins us with those details. Devdatta, first of all, tell us, what does this mean for Telenor's future in India, and how is the partner Unitech reacting to this?
Interestingly, this announcement was made through an advertisement in a newspaper even before informing its JV partner Unitech. In fact, on the 30th of July, when the last board meet happened, Telenor had taken the decision of breaking its JV with Unitech, and it comes interestingly at a time when they've just given Unitech or any other player just six days to prepare for the sale of assets, do the due diligence, and even submit the bids. That's very little time. It's almost an impossible task, probably because the intention is for Telenor to buy over these assets and keep them. In fact, Telenor Asia has expressed its willingness to participate in the auction, and that's exactly what they intend to do, keep the assets with themselves, so that when the new JV is supposedly going to get formed, they will have the entire setup in place already, and they will have Unitech out of the way, which is what they have been wanting for a long time. But as far as Unitech is concerned, they are not taking it very kindly, and they will file an injunction with the CLB much before this entire bidding process gets over. Telenor expects to complete the bid by the 7th of September, but the deadline for auction or bidding is the 6th of August, which is just 6 days from now. And before that gets over, we will see Unitech approaching or moving the CLB with an injunction to stop the asset sale by Telenor.
All right. So warring partners really continue to fight. Devdatta Das, thanks for all those details. It's time for a short break on Business Day, but still